6:50 here in St. Louis. Washington, D.C. is where we find Karen Travers, ABC News correspondent at the White House. Good morning, Karen.
Good morning.
Let's first start with Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and President Trump. They're meeting now?
Game on, right? That's what they're all saying. Not today. It's not happening until Thursday. But I mean, talk about not really giving yourself a lot of time. This whole thing has to get resolved by Friday night, or else the government would shut down. They need to come up with a government funding bill, even if it's just a short-term thing, to get past Friday night. But they're not meeting till Thursday. So either they're feeling pretty good about what they're all bringing to the table, that they don't need a lot of time to hammer something out, or if things are just not great and they're like, well, let's just meet and see what can stick to the wall.
Did I hear that Republicans are having a bit of a fight amongst themselves over this?
Oh, always. You've got some Republicans who are now agreeing with some of the Democrats about making sure that there's action on DACA, the Dreamers, those hundreds of thousands of undocumented immigrants who the Democrats want to see some protections for. They think they have leverage because this has to get done, a government funding bill. So why not throw in a hugely important priority, because the Republicans need their help on this one. Now, where the issue gets difficult for the Republicans is last night, they're trying to pass this bill to just agree to talk to the Senate about the tax bill. It's pretty straightforward. The Senate passed one, the House passed another. They have to vote to agree to go to conference. I mean, this is like the most basic steps of how things work. And it got a little gummed up last night, where a group of House Republicans were holding off their votes to go to conference because they don't like the game plan right now as it exists for a government funding bill. House Republicans put forward over the weekend a bill that would fund the government through December 22nd. Okay, 2 weeks, give themselves a little time, deal with all of this, probably do another 1 or 2 month thing to get to January. They don't like that because they say when your back is up against the wall on December 22nd, a holiday is looming, nobody wants to be in Washington, that's where people can start injecting things into the bill, and members just have to, swallow their opposition and vote for it just to get out of town. And they don't want to be in that position, this group of House conservatives. So we'll see if they complicate things over the next few days and what line they hold on this with House Speaker Paul Ryan.
Stay tuned. Now, the other big news yesterday is that President Trump, I know he flew to Utah, but he also re-endorsed Roy Moore down in Alabama.
Well, the most explicit endorsement. I mean, he has certainly made it clear he wants to see him win because he doesn't want to see the Democrat win. But yesterday, he made it as official as can be of giving Roy Moore on the phone an endorsement. And the Moore campaign was very eager to rush that out to the press and make sure that everybody knew that the president was now on board. And then you saw a bit of a domino effect where once the president said that, there were some Republican senators who said they now back him more explicitly than they had before. And the RNC jumping back in that race because, of course, they had pulled out in the wake of all these allegations last month. And they say, we're the political wing of a Republican president. If he's in, we're in.
Wasn't there another woman came forward yesterday as well?
Yeah, this was the Washington Post. I think it was one of the women that he said he didn't know or didn't remember having any interaction or knowledge of. And she has a note from him from back then. And
she was how old at the time?
In her teens, but I'm not sure her exact age.
Yeah. What's changed? Because Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan both said, hey, these women's claims are credible, and we believe them. So what's changed between now and then?
Well, they haven't come out as explicitly as the president, but Mitch McConnell said over the weekend the Alabama voters should decide. I mean, they're not backing away from their position that they think these women are credible. There's just politics involved in this. If Doug Jones wins this race, that's going to make things really dicey for Mitch McConnell.
Here's my question.
That doesn't mean he wants Roy Moore to win, but, you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Karen Travers, are Democrats secretly rooting for Roy Moore?
I don't know that. I wouldn't think so. I mean, it's still, if he wins, it doesn't change the dynamics. It doesn't change the breakdown. If he loses and they have another Democrat in the Senate, this gives them even more leverage. I mean, yeah, it's one vote, but it's a massive seismic change for the Senate.
Right, but it's also one vote that they can sort of hang everything on Roy Moore for the next 2 years.
Yeah, certainly. And, going into the midterms, it could certainly be a big talking point of look who Republicans supported. And Roy Moore is not a guaranteed Republican vote on everything. He is not exactly towing the party line. He has made it a stated mission to disrupt Mitch McConnell and cause as many headaches as he can.
Karen Travers, never a dull moment. Get back to work. ABC News correspondent.